let's take a look at the assembly process in K9. Now, an assembly process is very simply taking component items to create a finished product. Think like a gift basket or maybe a computer. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to create the parts that we're going to need in the catalog. So now if I go into inventory and catalog, let's say I want to build a computer. Now a computer has several components, let's say a motherboard and a hard drive and so forth. So if I start typing, I'll see I already have a motherboard item created, I already have a hard drive item created. I'll have these things already in the system. So I want to go ahead and jump right to creating that finished product. So let's go ahead and give it a code. Let's go comp 003. Okay. Let's go ahead and give it a name. Computer, comma, desktop 003. Okay. Now I want to make sure that I choose the type as a kit. If I don't choose type kit, what's going to happen is when I go into my show detail, I won't see this create edit kit. So this tab only appears if the item is marked as a kit. So now I'm going to go ahead in this kit and I'm going to choose which elements I need for this computer. I need a motherboard. Let's say I need a couple of hard drives. Let's put 2 in there. I need a video card. And I need a memory stick. Okay, let's put a couple in there. So these are the components that make up this computer desktop 003. Now if I go to sell this item and I go ahead in a sales order, let's populate one and create an order for it. And let's create a new sales order for this customer. And when I go to items over here and choose that computer 003, here we go. Choose the quantities. I'll give it a price. In this case, I can manually enter a price or have that price calculated by the child components. I'll show you in a moment. So right over here, when I go to assembly, these are the items that we said are required to make this computer. Now, as I mentioned earlier, it's a guideline. It's a template. Let's say in this case, we're going to go ahead and we're going to need 3 pieces of memory. I can go ahead and update that over there. Okay, so you can create these different combinations right away. If I hit update kit price, it'll update the total price. In this case, since I had 0 for all my components, it put 0 in there. So you may want to be careful with that item there. So the important thing to keep in mind is if I go to sell this product now, I will not have sold the correct items. What will happen is this computer will go to negative state because I'm selling something I don't physically have. And these component levels are not going to change at all. So the next step we have to do over here is create the assembly. It's basically going to take these 4 components, reduce their inventory, and increase one of this computer over there. So the way we do that, there's a few ways to do it. One is I can go right from the sales order, under actions, and create an assembly document. And again, the status that my document is in will dictate whether or not I can create that assembly. So your workflow might be a bit different. If I go ahead and create this assembly document, it's going to open up an assembly based on and linked to that sales order. So first of all, I notice this desktop computer. I want to assemble one, and I already see a problem. My possible combinations are -4. Okay, keep in mind, K9 does allow you to work with negative values because it's not the same as 0. I actually owe 4 units in this case. It may have been an error that we can correct with an adjustment, but there you have it. So the system will tell me on all my products how many I can actually assemble. So the only item that I have enough of in stock to work with this, to create this computer, is that video card. In this case, I'm going to ignore these options over here, and I'm going to go ahead and assemble this anyways. The system, once again, will allow me to do that. So if I save this line over here, I'll go ahead and create it. Now, there are some picking scenarios over here to keep aware of. If there's a lot or serial number, you want to go ahead and choose that. And if I open up each line, you see that they're all at this moment blank. If it did require lot number, I would have a little L over here to signify, and a serial number, a little SN to signify. So I know I'm okay over here. I don't have to select anything. Now, in a separate video, we covered under what scenarios and circumstances you can create or edit lot numbers. So I suggest you take a look at that video for a clear understanding. So now I'm going to assemble this item, and on my put away over here, I can define where it's going to go if it's different than the default bin location. In this case, I'll leave it blank because I'm going to accept the default, and I'll go ahead and I'll complete this transaction. So if everything works well, there we go. I have my saved icon over there, and now I have that item in stock. And once again, I'll right click on here just so we can see. Even though the data in this system is a little bit off, you'll get the idea. If I go to part availability, I'll see that now I have one in stock. I have that one sales order that I create over there that's still in draft, so that's why I have that in projected. If I go back in the sales order, and let's go ahead and allow shipment. Let me close some tabs here, and if I go back into that part number, and I'll check out the availability now, I'll see because I had that allow shipment, it didn't deduce it. It still has available for sale. I still have packed 0. My projected is still, but my open sales orders is 0 because I went ahead and I finished out that sales order. So now that's creating an assembly based on stock. I'm sorry, based on a sales order. You can also create an assembly just for assembly purposes, just have it in their warehouse. So I'm going to go into my assembly document, and again, it works very similarly. If I choose the date, that's when it's going to initiate it. And over here I can choose my component that I'm creating, or rather the finished product. There's our desktop computer we'll use as an example. And this time I'll create 2 of them. So now, again, when I open it up, it'll tell me I need per unit, my total I need, and all my balances and what I can assemble. In this case, I'm going to ignore those, and I'm going to go ahead and assemble this, and that's it. And I just changed the status, and we've assembled the item. So now we've looked at 2 scenarios, but let's say now you want to batch your assemblies. Batching is a good use of, let's say you have the same item sold in multiple sales orders, and now you're going to do a production run for those orders, and you want to combine them instead of doing the 2 options that I just did. So you're going to go over here into warehouse logistics, and you're going to choose batch assemblies. Now once I open this up, I'll see the only 2 that I have in the system right now that require assembly are these 2. I have a battery and I have this lighter. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to combine those into one assembly run. Now, even though they're different products, different sales orders, different customers, have no relation whatsoever, I can still go ahead and create that assembly. And you'll see here that it'll itemize it out, and it'll link it to the sales orders that generated those demands. Now, same thing. Normally, you'll go through, and you'll pick all your products, and you'll go ahead and create those assembled and change the status. Once you do that, as I mentioned, the product will be available for sale, and you'll have completed the cycle.